Mr. Ken.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. I have a question, right? I mean, those our recorded session. How do we get to watch back? Yeah, I mean
Who's
our record.
speaking? Who's speaking?
Junie speaking.
Junie,
Yeah.
you PM me afterwards.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Thank you, Mr. Ken.
A number of you missed the class yesterday, is it? Okay, while waiting for the others, anybody got a question? Yang ada soalan, you can bring it up now. Give
Mr.
another.
Ken, any chance to extend the assignment submission timeline this weekend?
Yes, I appreciate now puasa time and raya time also. Another week lah until the exam is. When did I tell you the exam was?
9th of May.
On the 9th of May.
9th of May. Okay, if you can make sure that I get it by then lah. 9th of May. Yeah. This is for the all the assignments, is it, or some of it?
Just
all
assignments only. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Now with COVID going on and
Thank
all
you
the,
so much. Okay.
I think all of you have to work from home, not right now. Some of you, with the fourth wave, I think all the students, school kids have to go and have online. So I appreciate that parents.
All my colleagues who are on leave and all that.
So we have to do babysitting. Pretty hard to manage, because hard to get maids and daycare lah, susah. So I get stuck at home with children coming back now. Yeah, I heard going to hit 3,000 or something like that. So no joke. Everywhere I go, I see or hear people getting it. My office, yesterday, one guy got it. Another sub branch, somebody got it the previous week. So almost everywhere I look, there's one or two scattered cases, quite widespread.
Yeah, even my father is COVID positive 2 weeks ago.
Right. He's okay now or still under treatment?
He's still under quarantine at the Serdang.
Okay.
At
Okay.
Mardi.
But he's not having those severe symptoms lah. Just
no severe symptoms.
Okay, that's good. That means if on the way, probably take about 2 or 3 weeks to recover.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can start off. It's something just hit my mind while we were discussing it to assignment that you're doing on the, and also the great financial crisis. Remember in your assignment, there's a mention, other special mention on the GFC, bukan?
Yes.
Great. So great financial crisis. I send you satu video link to explain the cause of the great financial crisis lah. It's caused by the housing bubble in US. Okay, and then the banks are very sangat creative. So creative accounting, not just accountants, not just CEO, not just accountants are creative. Even the bankers are sangat creative. So the bankers are very creative in the Western world, in the Western society, in Western country. They call this financial engineering. You heard of the term before? Accountants got creative accounting lah, but bankers got this term, and finance people, got this term called financial engineering. Apa ni financial engineering? They try to make financial instruments so complicated in order to make money, usually involve options, futures, derivative. All right, they use derivative and they use contract, they use laws, and they use all kind of. I would say it's quite tricky lah. The normal person will find it very difficult, sangat susah faham. All right, that's why it's easy to cheat people. So this is called, apart from creative accounting, you got this term, maybe you can mention in your jawapan, it's called financial engineering. So accountants are also part of the gang lah. They also helped to set up this kind of structure. And in Enron, apart from creative accounting, you also got financial engineering. Who teach the accountants financial engineering? The investment bankers. And these people who do this thing called financial engineering, they could be not even accountants. They may be engineers. They could be scientists. They may be mathematicians. All right. So in the case of the this Enron, they use this term called mark to market. Yeah, mark to market, which is a kind of creative accounting in order to boost their results and profits. The profits are actually palsu punya lah. They inflated it. So in the case of the great financial crisis, the first problem adalah housing bubble. A housing bubble was triggered by the low interest rate. Interest rate yang rendah, because US wanted to revive the economy, so they reduced interest rate to something less than 1%, 0.5% or something lah. So when interest rates are very low, people will speculasi lah, I mean. So many people buy property, so property price night. And to the extent that in the year 1990s, 98, 97, 2000, people think that buy property sure make money, one won't lose money. So the bankers become very aggressive to lend. They lend to people that don't have job, no money, right? They say that as long as a person can walk, they'll lend money to them to buy property. So a lot of these people that cannot really afford to buy property, don't have track record to buy property, they are given money. So the brokers are the one that will go and look them out. So in US, the brokers actually will help to a bank to look for clients, customers. So when they get these clients, they tell them not to worry. We will create some documents for you so that you dapat can get the loans. All right. So of course, the poor fella that got no money is happy, isn't it? Because he's getting a house, and he's been told not to worry because next year the house price will sure night one. So you just sell the house, you make money, or you can refinance next year. All right. And then to further make them more interested, they don't have to pay any interest or installment for the first 1-2 years. I think in Malaysia, we got this scheme also. It's called DBIS scheme. We also were affected at that time, other bubbles, sini juga. That's why our property price also night during that time, quite a lot. So I think our Bank Negara start to raise interest rate and to bring it down, to bring the housing bubble down in Malaysia. But in US, it continue lah. It continue. And after a while, when the banks have already made a lot of loans, they begin to have financial engineering. They repackage the loan into some kind of mortgage loan. That's why they call it subprime because it's below prime. And they sell these loans, this package of subprime loans to investment banks, to pension fund, to retirement funds all over the world. They sell it out. So when they sell it out, basically the bank take these loans off their balance sheet and pass it on to the other investors right? So the investors can be in Singapore also, right? It can be Temasek, it can be EPF, but luckily EPF didn't buy because during that time, Malaysia under capital control because of the 1997 financial crisis. The Prime Minister at that time implemented capital control. So our EPF and our banks and our pension fund cannot invest overseas. Right? So that saves us in a way, luckily, right? But Singapore, people lose money. So they invest in this product, and this product is called subprime mortgage loans. Okay, it's packaged into SPV, special purpose vehicle. Very complicated. They put all the loans into this vehicle, and then they sell it to the investment bank. So investment bank will borrow money to buy off this bank, commercial banks to buy the loans of them. Why can they borrow? Because they can borrow money very cheaply from Federal Reserve, 1% saja. So they borrow at 1%, they take over the sub-mortgage loan. On paper, the sub-mortgage loan can give 3-4%. So to them, sure make money, right? Investment bank borrow at 1, buy the mortgage loan from the commercial bank. I mean, I don't know whether they know that the loans are subprime or not, right? Because the loans are also rated as AAA by the rating agency, So rating agency also tipu. They mark AAA. That means they say this loan is a very good quality loan lah. So the investment bank and the pension fund will buy these loans from the bank because they are under the label AAA. So easy for them to explain to their shareholder or the unit trust holder. They say kita beli AAA products. All right. So very little risk on paper lah to them. So you can see, these things start to feed off each other because of the low interest rates. Now, this kind of product is engineered by this term called financial engineering. Because last time, a long time ago, tidak ada this kind of product. No, don't have this product. All right. So how to solve this problem is, in my view, I agree with it also. If the world practice this kind of banking called Sharia banking, you heard of the word Sharia banking, Islamic banking, huh? Malaysia got a lot of Islamic banks and Sharia banking. Is if the financial system mengikuti principle of Sharia banking, then you won't have this crisis. Why? Because Sharia banking don't allow financial engineering. All right. So when you buy a house, kalau you beli a house, you must have a house. Yeah. Then the bank only can lend to you where there's a tangible house. They cannot lend to you if it is a product, if it is a subprime product, or if it's a financial instrument. Sharia banking cannot. So if they do that, then we wouldn't have the great financial crisis. All right. So in your answer, maybe you want to macam highlight this factor, because going forward, how to prevent such crisis is if the world follow more closely the principle according to Sharia banking, then you will reduce the possibility of financial engineering, right? And the collapse of the banking structure because it's too complicated to understand, right? And the leverage become too high. And before they know it, it explodes. Even the CEO doesn't know what's inside there, That's a problem. You ask Citibank, what product is this? The guy also scratches it. He doesn't know. He have to ask his accountant, his marketing manager come in to dissect the product, or maybe they pretend they don't know. It can be like that lah. Because after the crisis, when they interrogated them before the Congress, a lot of the CEO said dia tak faham apa itu product. Old-fashioned guy, So the new guys come in when they design this product, is susah for them to faham. So I think that's a very good point to bring up on the financial crisis. How to prevent. One of the factor you can think is that in the future, mungkin the IMF maybe can suggest that they follow more closely to the principle of Sharia banking. But do you think this will happen? I think it will be a hard call because IMF is controlled by United States, bukan? So United States and the Western world, they love to play products like that because they can control the financial system, right? So financial system is actually very straightforward, but they make it complicated. So complicated that, maybe they can make money because when the system crash, all right, they are the first to know, so they can take advantage. How do you take advantage when the market is going to crash? They can go short on the products, all right? So they can short sell, they can buy certain options that go against the market. Market drop, they make money. Okay, so like Goldman Sachs, they make a lot of money from the from the great financial crisis. When they did interrogation of them, they find that before the crash come, they already positioned themselves. They know it's coming, right? So they even shorted Citibank, they shorted AIG. That means they short sell lah. So bila saham jatuh or the company lose money, the share price drop, they make money. So that means they know it's coming. They are the only few people who know, banks that know, that take advantage. All right. So there could be another angle is that maybe the crisis could be engineered also to help them make money on the way up, make money on the way down. So the world financial system adalah quite complex. Now for Sharia banking, you need Sharia auditor also, So you cannot simply say, okay, this bank comply with Sharia. It must be audited. I think regularly in Bursa, every 3 months, there must be an audit report done to report to the Bursa that they comply with the Sharia guidelines. For example, they cannot buy gaming products, they cannot buy unethical products, that kind of thing. So because great financial crisis basically is an ethical problem again, right? So I would suggest that for your answer, maybe you can put it in answer lah. But globally, nobody dare to bring it out in the global arena. If you open your mouth and say you want to bring in Sharia banking, kena tembak, because I think the IMF basically is controlled by the Westerners. So Westerners doesn't like that idea. Okay. Okay, this is for your assignment, the assignment, and also in exam. Also, if you ask about this kind of crisis, even about Enron, the Enron got also practice financial engineering. So the principle involved is too complicated. Whereas if you practice the Sharia type of banking, it's straightforward, right? So every product must have a physical product. You buy a house, you must have the house lah. Kalau the house is not there, it's a virtual house, right? Or the right to the house, you cannot execute the transaction, so to say. Can Sharia company buy futures? Futures? Strictly no. But I heard that if it is used strictly for hedging, right? There's some leeway. For example, it's a plantation company, because when they plant the fruits, maybe the harvest come 1 year later, dia boleh gunakan futures to lock in the price, right? So they will sell the futures. So when the time comes, whether up or down, it doesn't matter because they lock in the price. So they will deliver the physical product. So there are certain exceptions, but by and large, they are not allowed to use derivative product. Derivative product is not the asset, it's the right to the asset. It's very complicated. It's one step, it's something like gambling in a way also lah. Gambling. We also, in the case of Sharia, is you must have the tangible. So you buy stocks, inventory. You must have the inventory bukan before you can have loans released to you. Physical, must be physical, all right? Okay. For those who missed the class yesterday we discussed kind of the online exam. Online exam got two parts. Part one is the theory, and part two is a multiple choice lah, 10 to 20 question multiple choice. So concentrate on the MCCG 2017. Kalau you know all the MCCG best practices, the tiga prinsip and the best practices, then it shouldn't be a problem for the multiple choice, because that paper focuses on Malaysian Code on Corporate Governance 2017. Is given to you all in the pembentangan. In there, the checklist is there. Right? So go through that lah. Part one is a theory question lah, on the corporate governance also. Okay. There's today we discussed the take-home exam. Take-home exam is 10 markah. It will be released on 25th April, all right, at 10 a.m. and then is due back on the 2nd of May at 5 p.m. Okay, so I can sort of give you a verbal guideline before I release to you, because it's a take-home exam anyway. So I'll let you all get ready for it. So the question involved is this particular section is concentrated on kawalan dalam. All right, the take-home exam focuses on kawalan dalam. So the typical question you would get from there is theory. Here got no multiple choice, or theory is apa itu penyata kawalan dalam? Okay. What is the statement of internal control? B is perlukan penyata kawalan dalam di audit. Does the statement of internal control need to be audited? All right. So you'll be getting something like that, but you'll get a formal copy of it on the, it'll be released to you on the 25th. Okay. So apa itu penyata kawalan dalam? Okay. And perlukan penyata kawalan dalaman di audit. And then another question is di Malaysia terdapat banyak jenis juru audit. Juru audit dan kawalan dalam yang ketat boleh mencegah semua penipuan. Setuju atau tidak dan mengapa? Explain lah. So, and bincangkan konsep kawalan dalaman, pengurusan risiko dan proses audit. So in English, in Malaysia, there are many types of auditors. Auditors and tight internal control can prevent all frauds, agree or not, and mengapa and why. Discuss the concept of internal control, risk management, and the audit process. Okay. Then the next section again is apa ni definasi code corporate governance. This one actually is a bonus for you.
Can you please repeat the question?
Okay, this
The third
question.
one.
Which one is this? This particular one? Just
Yeah. The types of auditors and then
okay. I repeat again. In Malaysia, there are many types of auditors. All right. Auditors and tight internal control can prevent all frauds. Agree or not, and why? Discuss the concept of internal control, risk management, and the audit process. Okay. Repeat in bahasa lah. Di Malaysia terdapat banyak juru audit, jenis juru audit dan kawalan dalaman yang ketat boleh mencegah semua penipuan. Setuju atau tidak dan mengapa? Dan bincangkan konsep kawalan dalaman, pengurusan risiko dan proses audit. Okay. Then another section would be, this one is lucky for you because it is bonus, the selected apa ni definasi pentadbiran korporat. This one is, you really got the answer lah. Basically, you just repeat what you have already done. Namakan 6, it could be 6 or 7 or 8, so I guess you better prepare for more. Contoh amalan terbaik of the corporate governance 2017 yang berkaitan dengan kawalan dalaman. Okay, so the yesterday one, when we talk about corporate governance, we focuskan on the audit, bukan? What's the role of auditor in MCCG 2017? But this one, they say in the Code on Corporate Governance, all right, what are the sections, okay, that focuses on internal control? And that one is what principle? Can you remember or not? You got 3 principles, isn't it? So principle 1 is balance board, is that right? Principle 2 is pengurusan risiko dan effective audit. Okay, audit. So I think principle 2 will be relevant to this because you know why? Because pengurusan risiko is actually part of kawalan dalam. Right? When you say kawalan dalam, apa ni kawalan dalam? Kawalan dalam is internal control. So internal control are processes being put in place by management to ensure that there's efficiency, to prevent fraud, to promote effective operation, and also to practice risk management and make sure that you comply with all the regulation. So you can look at the principle to answer this question. All right. What are the sections? So namakan 6 contoh amalan terbaik, best practices that have to do with kawalan dalam. So you have the listing, run through the listing tonight. If you're not going to sleep yet, you will find, you know what they are, just tick it off lah, just tick off. You will find it in the best practice lah, the risk management and internal control. Okay. So the key is you have to internalize the thing, but it's an open book, so you can have it all before you, to answer your question.
All this is for the take-home exam.
Yeah,
10 marks.
10 marks, yes, 10 marks. So yeah, you're lucky because some of it is repeated because they choose it in such a way that, but the repeatedness is a bit skewed lah. Yesterday was target at auditors, today is target at kawalan dalam. Okay. The next one, Corporate Governance 2017, Akta Pasaran Modal dan Perkhidmatan, that's CMSA 207, dan Akta Syarikat 2016 yang berkaitan dengan kawalan dalam adalah efektif atau tidak efektif. So you have to find out in the code and the CMSA what are the section and Akta Syarikat 2016 they have connection with internal control. Then you ask yourself, is this effective? There's no right or wrong answer in this kind of question. You know, maybe you can look at it from the point of view of, from me personally, I will look at it, okay, we got very beautiful laws, but is there enforcement or not? All right. So sometimes we got very beautiful law, but no enforcement, then it's useless lah. Singapore, in fact, if you compare Malaysia with Singapore, kalau you bandingkan undang-undang Malaysia dengan Singapore, our corporate law and our corporate governance tighter than Singapore. Is higher standard, but Singapore enforcement is better. All right. So when Singapore go there, they will hantam lah. Here is, you know, selectively some people kena, but the standard is not there, no. Like insider trading, Stanley Tai was charged and convicted first round, 5 years jail. Whereas recently, one lady from AAA, executive director, pleaded guilty, get 1 day jail. All right, so 5 years and 1 day adalah very big difference. This lady got fined 1 million ringgit lah, but Stanley Tai got fined 5 million ringgit plus 5 years jail. But he appealed recently and he got off lah. But the SC gonna appeal, so another round, you know. So very susah. Sometimes you wonder whether it's better to just go to jail for a few months and forget about it. Because kalau you lawan, you go on and on, your fine, your lawyer's fees could be more than the fine. All right. So sometimes they have they negotiate with prosecutor lah. Okay, I plead guilty, mungkin masuk penjara 3 months, then case closed lah. All right. But in the case of Stanley, he chose to fight. All right. Okay, so my answer to this is effective or not depends on enforcement. Our regulation is beautiful. All right, beautiful, tighter than Singapore. But first of all, do we audit? Do we have effective audit or not? Who's doing the audit? Siapa buat audit? It cannot be, you know, the syarikat himself. It must be the auditor from the agency lah. So maybe the SC should have a department. The Busa should have a department, specially dedicated to audit this kind of issues. All right, and it should be surprise audit lah. All right, there can two areas of audit is whistleblowing. To make this law more spicy and more effective, you must have policing, enforcement, and thirdly is to be more effective, you should have a very effective whistleblowing framework. How to make the framework more juicy and more effective? I think if you give people reward, people more inclined to whistleblow, isn't it? If you know that there's a reward waiting for you, you may be what do you call it? You'll be incentivized to blow the whistle, just like in United States lah. But Malaysia still don't have rewards. Malaysia, yeah.
So based on my understanding lah, so kalau nak depend on kita punya law ni, kita kena nak tengok efisiensi dia. Pertama kita tengok daripada polisi dan pelaksanaan law tu lah.
Yeah, SOP. What's the SOP to enforce? Because you may have undang-undang yang bagus, right?
Tapi pelaksanaan dia kurang lah kat negara ni.
Yalah,
compare dengan Singapore.
Yes, correct. Singapore law is actually not as good as ours, Ours is tighter. We define things a lot better, punishment much heavier, but enforcement sadly lacking lah. Maybe we don't have the qualified people, right? Or the SC may be under-resourced. Tidak cukup orang untuk membuat itu investigation, because investigation very messy, Kalau you want to prove murder, very easy. You want to prove commercial crime, white collar crime, very susah, because the evidence can be easily refuted by a good lawyer lah. So it's very difficult. That's why a lot of cases SC choose to settlement, like what's the guy's name to make the movie one? The Wolves of Wall Street. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Straight lah.
they bought settlement. Their buyer, they say, okay, I pay this is this, case closed lah. Another one is M-Bank. M-Bank pay how much?
6
900.
billion.
Yeah, a lot of money. They pay.
Ah.
Oh, they pay the settle lah. I think our finance minister,
Yes,
banker.
MDB kan?
Yes, yeah, yeah. So this is called settlement, all right? Because you know that commercial crime is take a long time to prove lah. All right. If it's a criminal breach of trust, maybe easier. But if it involve kawalan dalam, internal control, that means there sudah ada plan, you know. They already buat. And mungkin you can't get him. Maybe he planted his CFO or his accountant, right? So normally the accountant will kena lah, or the accounts clerk or the CFO will kena, right? So sometimes I feel very sad. The CFO get locked up, but the MD or CEO say he cannot remember or he doesn't know. All right, I believe that he knows lah. You know, then you see the Enron movie also same one, right? They blame each other, right? So in the end, the CFO also blew the whistle. The CFO say, if I don't blow the whistle, I'm going to go to jail for a long time. So I better blow the whistle. So many cases, the prosecutor know that. So they want the big fish, right? So they tell the small fish, if you turn to become a witness, prosecution witness, we give you discount. Or even let you off because they want to get the big one, okay? You want to get big one or small one? Of course, the prosecutor want to get the big one lah. But sometimes too big also problem, you know. You know what I mean? You get a too big one, you may have problem. May become very dangerous because the power structure lah. You have to look at power structure. So this one got no right or wrong answer. Okay, I'm just telling you itu macam the practicality of it. Practicality of it all in different countries. Now in United States, in US, because in United States, the state and the federal, just to let you all know, is very fragmented. Now in Malaysia, also we got state, Penang, opposition state, and so on. In United States, you got the state and you got federal. So kalau you commit a crime in one state, all right, New York, for example, you larikan diri. If the police catch you within the same state, it's the state police. But if you cross the border from New York, you go to maybe Texas, then you kena. That means the FBI will look for you, federal matter. So when FBI tangkap, your jail sentence automatically will go up by another 50%. All right. So, so the state law and also this kind of law, we're talking about corporate law, is it federal matter or is it state matter? Yeah. In US, you have this problem. Canada, the same. Because each state very jealous of another state. So you commit the crime in one state, you run to another state, maybe cannot be prosecuted lah. In Malaysia, I don't think we have the problem because basically the SC is federal, correct? Securities Commission. So they tangkap you, that means wherever you are in Malaysia, it still be under federal, okay? Federal law. If it's straightforward CBD, then it is this penal code lah, all right? Penal code. Penal code means we kena rotan also. Whereas under SC and all those things, you won't get rotan, you won't get jail, and you get the fine. Now, if you get caught, if you have a choice of getting caught by the CCM, MACC, Bukit Aman, or SC, which one would you prefer to get caught by? Suppose you committed offense, you have a choice to be tangkap by the CCM, Cabinet Commission, or you get tangkap by the Bukit Aman, or you get tangkap by the SC, or you get tangkap by MACC. Which one would you prefer?
Tak nak.
If you have a choice, you better get tangkap by CCM, Capital Companies Commission. Well, so far, Companies Commission, very nice one. You go in there, after a while, nothing happened, and then they release you lah, right? But you get tangkap by MACC, those days, you don't want to go to a high floor lah. You have to wear the orange uniform. Usually, if you can get caught by Bukit Aman, you cannot tumbuk inside there lah. Nobody knows what happened to you. So your second best is if you need to be tangkap, you better get tangkap by SC. Because SC, basically, they are professional lawyers, professional auditors. They won't tumbuk you lah, but they will carry on their usual tasks. Whereas for Bukit Aman and MACC, there are a lot of horror stories lah you hear. CCM is supposed to be very inefficient. Many cases reported, but case called closed. All right. That's why there was rumor at one time that SC will take over CCM. SC will take over. But so far, they didn't continue with this rumor lah. Maybe it can come true later. Okay. So this question, you can actually write a long story on it. Okay, what are the section in the CMSA? You look at your CMSA, you can find the Akta Syarikat also. This the soft copy inside there. There's a section on internal control. So you quote the section. Maybe you better mark a sticker on it so that on exam day. But don't buy the book lah. I think is a book expensive. 45 ringgit. Akta Syarikat. You can borrow or something like that. But you will print it. Is it expensive? If you print,
lebih baik beli Mr. Ken.
Yeah, beli better lah. And also, if you're working in this area, I think it's good for you to have a book because you will probably need to refer to it every now and then. And your professional library lah. This one, professional library is good. And this one is a new book, 2016. So if you meet an old man who's a company secretary, the poor fella have to study the new book also. You got no choice. The old book.
So sorry, can I see the cover?
Okay, there's a Bahasa version and English version. This is the English version. You can buy the English version, but the PDF ada satu Bahasa BM, which I posted to your. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So the definition of Code of Corporate Governance, yesterday I mentioned, you got the hard, long, complicated definition or the simple definition. Layman definition is management is about running a company to make a profit for shareholder lah, right? So management is about running a company to make money for shareholders. Corporate governance is about running the company properly for all stakeholders, i.e. shareholders, employees, societies, the bankers, pemuitang, etc. lah. So it's a much wider definition. It's about running it properly. All right. So you can make money, but if you are breaching regulation, causing people to die, those days the Syarikat may have slave labor, All right. So slave labor meaning you work the people until they die. Real case in Taiwan. What's the name of the company that make Apple goods? Foxconn. All right, Foxconn. They are the ones who make your handphone parts and things like that. You work until some worker get crazy. They commit suicide. All right. They call this what they call it, mental torture because there is a very tight KPI. So many companies are accused of that. Amazon, another one. Amazon. Why? Because in Amazon there's a transport, the van. They work so hard that they cannot go to the toilet, so they are given a bottle. Kalau mau pergi toilet, they're given that thing, So driving also, they cannot stop. They're given KPI. Right? So now all these start to surface. They say that this one is not good corporate governance because you make money. You squeeze every blood or drop blood to make profit for shareholder. But what about the poor fella? Right? Our Malaysia case, Top Glove. I think recently US accused them of gunakan forced labor. So now under investigation. So they are supposed to hire a consultant to do a study. They will come and audit Top Glove whether they are actually using forced labor or not. But if you go to some places like Meru, those places that when they plant, there are thousands and thousands of workers. So I often wonder where they sleep at night. Banyak pekerja from overseas, thousands when the bell rings and they come out, and then people going in, going out, thousands. So the hostel must be quite terrible. Mungkin one room got 10 or 20 people inside there. So all these are corporate governance, they're talking about running the company properly, not just for shareholder, juga for employees. So employees are also human. So they say they should treat the employee well, make sure that they have what do you call it, living space. So now the Kerajaan came out with a regulation, other minimum standard, but employer now ask for extension because they say very hard to comply lah. So now they extend maybe by another 6 months, where they say even the tilam must be how thick, they also define, right? And then one room must have how many people only, must have much space, must have one toilet, toilet must be clean, that kind of thing lah. So all these are nothing to do with profit, but it is proper corporate governance. Okay. So this is the take-home exam. You can start preparing for it. You go back tomorrow. I think you can basically prepare, for example, what is the statement of internal control? Okay. Internal control is in your lecture notes. Let me show you the page. Kaulan dalam. You got a soft copy of the notes. I think maybe if you can print out, easier for you to print out for the exam, easy to refer lah. Not that thick, huh? Either you print out the Bahasa version or the English version. So for internal control in the English version, it's page muka surat 58. Bahasa, I think, is around there. Those who got Bahasa version, you check through. It is topic under 4.10. Okay, 4.10, if you can see, is called apa ni, what is internal control? So to answer this question, maybe you can start off by defining what is internal control. So the answer given here is internal control is a process designed to provide reasonable assurance, underline reasonable. The regulation and the law also use the word reasonable. Why? If you don't use the word reasonable, people may be misled into thinking that kawalan dalam is guaranteed to prevent. It doesn't guarantee. It can only give you reasonable assurance. Just like when you go on by aeroplane, can the aeroplane pilot tell you 100% we are safe? He cannot say that because you never know lah. When you go for operation at the hospital, the doctor can the doctor tell you 100% no problem? Of course, he may tell you off the record lah. But bila surgery day come, you're asked to sign a form, isn't it? So normally we just sign. But if you read the form carefully, in the fine print, it said that kalau you meninggal dunia because of operation, they are not responsible. So, yeah. But before that, the doctor will be very nice. I say, no problem, small problem. You remember Zahid's son-in-law died at the dentist, right? The dental thing, he was put under anesthetic, then meninggal dunia. Even the dentist. So dentists also very careful now. You go in there, they also make you sign all kind of forms, especially now with COVID and everything. Everybody's very scared. All right. So bila you masuk surgery room, all right, you may ask the doctor, hey, why you say no problem, sure, got no problem, why you make me sign this thing and say that if anything happen, you're not responsible? The guy will tell you that in surgery, nothing is 100%, okay? There is some risk. Nobody can promise you 100%. Can your lawyer promise you this court case 100% can win? You go for teh tarik with your lawyer for a case, the guy say bang on the table, I sure win 100%. Of course, teh tarik time he tell you lah, but in open forum, he will say we have a good chance of winning. Lawyers are like that, They say we have a good case. That's all they can say, because when you go to the court, it depends on who the judge is, isn't it? Can you read the mind of the judge? You cannot, unless you got some, there are suspicious situations. That one I don't know lah. All right. In America, it's even worse. In America, is by jury, Last time Malaysia have jury one. When you go to the court, they select, I think 12 or 13 people. I cannot remember. They're random, choose. And these people were 13 jury. So that one even was, all right? So how you can be sure? You don't know how the 13 people think like, all right? So the policeman recently found guilty of murder one, the Floyd fella. Yeah, he's found guilty by jury, all right? So the judge will decide on punishment lah. So the American system is even more uncertain as to the outcome. Malaysia used to have jury, but they took it, they decided not to have it, and it's all done by the judge. Many years ago, it used to be jury. think there was a case called Mona Fendi. That was the last jury case they had. There was a murder case. After that, no more already. All right. So remember, kawalan dalam is reasonable assurance kerana nobody can guarantee that fraud cannot happen. Because if the person is very intelligent and semua pakat, CFO pakat, MD pakat, chairman also pakat, and worse still, auditor also pakat, you know. How to check? In Enron case, internal auditor also pakat, and the lawyer also pakat, and the investment bank are the one that also help them to commit the fraud. So the whole system was corrupted, you know, in the Enron case. All right, you can see the chronology of the court hearing, isn't it? So the investment bank, for example, bought 5 barges from Enron. Yeah, what has the investment bank got to do with barges? The barge to make electricity. They buy this, and then within 6 months sell it back to Enron. Why they do that? They try to hide something from the balance sheet, so they buy. Nothing in writing, nothing in writing, but there's agreement, wing lah, that Enron sell to you, later Enron buy back from you at a higher price. You dapat profit. Of course, investment bank are happy, isn't it? Right? But nothing in writing. Or there could be some kind of hidden writing. I don't know lah, you know, whether there's some kind of back-to-back agreement overseas, right? So what you see is one side of a transaction only, all right? So fraud can be very, very complex until you cannot see the whole picture because of collusion. The word is collusion. There is pakat among all the top people. That's why it's very important to have proper segregation of duty and have independent board. That's why they say if a person is a pengarah bebas for 9 years, they should actually get a new one. Put in a new person, higher chance to find out something happening. All right. Okay, so what is kawalan dalam? You should, for the answer this question, you have to define this lah. And internal control is a process designed to provide reasonable, this in your notes, provide reasonable assurance regarding the achievement of objectives in the following categories: effectiveness and efficiency of operation. Okay, why they use the word effective and efficiency? Because if you are efficient but not effective, also no use, you know. You're very efficient at doing things lah, but you just do according to instruction, but it doesn't do anything to improve your operation. So you have to be efficient as well as macam effective. Okay, so you have to ensure that your financial reporting is reliable. If your instrument panel is faulty, your aeroplane instrument, your GPS is faulty, your plane will crash because it's not accurate. So your financial reporting must be timely, done, reliable. Okay, this is to give you a direction, what is your performance, and also give you either for cash management and so on. You need reliable financial reporting. For example, you don't know what is your inventory position. The road case, I don't know where to order your stock also. You don't know your cash position, worse, right? Then you have cash flow problem, all right, and so on. And also to comply with applicable laws and regulations. Sekarang ada banyak regulation, you know, so many laws, and ignorance is not an excuse. Okay, if you forget, too bad, you'll be in jail also. So ignorance is no excuse under the law. So that's why you need good advice. So in the syarikat, for good corporate governance, you need a company secretary yang qualified. Yeah, every company must have a qualified company secretary. What's the role of company secretary? To advise the board on all these complicated regulations and laws, company law, company act, and so on. Because you don't expect a director to know everything, right? So he needs to have the advice, the advice. And the CFO is supposed to advise also lah on accounting matters. Okay. And then another area is to safeguard assets. You need to look after your assets and have proper pengurusan risiko, risk management. Okay, so you got that, to answer this question. Basically, your page 58 of the English notes. In the Bahasa version, I think is around that page. You look for it, the BM version. Yes.
I have a question. Normally, the company secretary come from what background, sir? Is it accounting or law or what?
Okay, to be a company secretary, they need to be registered with the there's a chartered company secretary. All right, that's one way. The second way is if that person is a registered lawyer with a bar council, a lawyer with experience in the company law, he can become a company secretary. The third one is if you are a MIA member, Malaysian Institute of Accountant member, MIA member, you can also function as a company secretary. So the role of a company secretary is to attend meeting, minute the meeting, take records, and to advise the board lah. So normally, the chartered secretary would have, with many years experience, would be the person that I would personally look for to advise me. Because if you take a lawyer with not much experience in company law, he may be very good at maybe criminal law, all right? Then he may not be able to advise you properly because he's not updated, you know. So if I get a very old company secretary who's an expert in 1965 Companies Act, I'm a bit worried also, because now I'm more concerned with Akta Syarikat 2016, isn't it? So I would like to look for a younger company secretary who is more involved in 2016, because 16, 17, 18, 19, at least 4-5 years experience with the Akta 2016, I feel more confident. Because when I asked the older company secretary who are expert in the 1965 period time, they're very good. But then when I ask them about the 2016, they have to look, they're not sure, you know. And then people too old already, those older lawyers, maybe they're lazy to study also. That's a problem. So to answer your question is, okay, technically they need a MIA member, bar council member, lawyer, or chartered secretary registered with the chartered secretary. But I myself would personally look for a younger one, right, who has got more experience in 2016, because it's new, very new. So if he can prove to me that this company secretary has gone through 4-5 years with a listed company administering this particular section, I'll be more confident. All right, simply because it's a very new Akta lah. Does that answer your question?
Yep. Thank you so much.
You want to become a company secretary?
No, no, no.
Actually, it's not a bad job, you know. It's if you know your law very well, basically it's advisory lah. You just have to make sure that, you know, if you need to be told, you better tell lah. What will get you in trouble is what you're supposed to tell, you don't know, and you didn't tell. Then you finish lah. You get sacked. Many cases, the company secretary jump after that. Forgotten to tell the boss about this because they didn't know about it. All right. Yeah, by the way, Maybank, I received an email from them after they postponed the AGM. I received 50 ringgit from them. They actually thanked me for attending the AGM.
Okay.
Yeah, and they say the 50 ringgit will be credited to my e-wallet. But the question I'm asking now is, the meeting haven't really take place, isn't it? It's postponed, but yet I received my 50 ringgit already. So something is wrong. I think they pre-program it already so that when you check in, because I managed to log in, you know, and ask questions, but I cannot attend the meeting. So because of that, the system tagged me as having attended and sent me the 50 ringgit. So I'm going to test them again and then ask for another 50 ringgit when the meeting starts again, because they're going to reschedule the meeting. By the way, they sacked the SAC Trico. They're going to engage another service provider, right? It's quite disastrous for a blue chip company. Very embarrassing. And which principle are they violating? Principle number 3 of the Code on Corporate Governance. Effective engagement with shareholder. Gagal lah. Cannot even, you know, run a proper AGM, right? I don't know, maybe is the infrastructure problem that cannot handle big volume of people attending. Okay. Okay, so is there any question? So this question for take-home exam is basically kawalan dalam is a very important question. And then to answer kawalan dalam, I would recommend you all to put another factor called COSO. What, like you have ISO bukan? ISO for your operation, right? So what is the ISO for internal control and risk management? It is COSO. COSO is the best practice for kawalan dalam dan pengurusan risiko. It's given in your notes as is called the Committee of Sponsoring Organization of Stratway Commission. Short form is called COSO. So in exam, you should mention the word COSO. The best practice for kawalan dalam and risk management is COSO. And Bursa Malaysia actually encourages listed company to follow COSO best practices, okay, when they present the penyata pengurusan risiko dan kawalan dalam. So in your answer, you would first define what's kawalan dalam, then you talk about COSO, what's the best practice. The best practice for kawalan dalam and internal control is COSO. Then what is COSO? You can Google. There are many, but some answer is given in the notes on COSO. You can repeat that, or you can do your Google on COSO, COSO. You find that there's a write-up lah. Okay. So then the third part of your answer is every listed company in Bursa must prepare a penyata or statement of risk management and internal control, right? So because the question asks you what it is, so you can say that in Bursa Malaysia listing rule, every listed company must prepare the statement of internal control and risk management. And then in the risk management, the board must mention whether in the view have they an effective internal control or not. If it doesn't, they must say so. If it is effective, they must say so. Can they keep quiet? No, right? They are not allowed to remain silent. They must make a statement for or not, right? Is it effective or not? They must say. If they say effective, then they must go on to say we have all this in place, and then they must also put down there they have received assurance. The board has received assurance from the board of director and the CFO. No, have received assurance from the CEO and the CFO that nothing has come to their attention that will result in weaknesses in internal control and kawalan dalam. Okay, so today we will just discuss this lah. And then on Sunday, we will discuss the other one, the case study, take-home case study exam. All right. So we already discussed there are 3 papers for exam. The 20-mark one we discussed yesterday, right? The one on the multiple choice and the first part is the theory question. Today we discussed the 10% one, take-home exam. So big focus on kawalan dalam. All right. So kawalan dalam is in your notes. Just read through the notes. Remember to look at what is COSO, right? And then if you can get hold of one of the listed company annual report, turn to the penyata kawalan dalam, which is an annual report. Just browse through what's inside there. What's inside? You can choose any company. You can choose Lafarge, Amylin Cement, right? Those companies, choose any one of them. All of them must have this in their annual report. So if you want to choose one with Bahasa one, I think you can look at maybe GLC. They have multiple languages in there. Maybe Maju Perak. I think Maju Perak may have one in Bahasa in there. Bahasa as well as English. A lot of the company only have English. Some have English and Malay, Bahasa. So I think if you want to look at the Bahasa version in the annual report one, you look at this company called Maju Perak. MAJUPERAK, which is a GLC company in Perak, a listed company. They have dual versi, Bahasa dan English. All right, separate book. I think they have a separate book for each. All right, so this is for the take-home exam. So, Mr. Pusparaja, can you hear me, Pusparaja? Do you have a phone at home? A phone, a house line, house phone? You have, can you email me your phone number, right? So that I can have a chat with you because I can't get you on WhatsApp. You cannot get onto WhatsApp, is it? WhatsApp tidak ada smartphone. You only got the computer, but no handphone. But you got a fixed line phone, got a fixed line. You give me your fixed line phone so that I can call you up maybe tomorrow to discuss your assignment, because you did send in right? But I need to discuss with you on some presentation. Yeah, can. So you just email me your home phone number. Are you from Selangor or outstation? Okay, yeah. So you email me lah, your telephone number. Okay. Is there any further questions? So on Sunday we will discuss the last one, the one that's 20 marks, which is the case study, take home case study exam lah. So I think you all should be not so fearful by now. You more or less can see what's coming, right? It's not that difficult. Take home exam, so you have time to prepare for it. Okay. So I sort of let you know earlier so that you can have 1 or 2 days earlier to prepare, because then you have to hand in, maybe a week later. So your video is coming along fine, no problem. You have to be good actor.
Mr. Ken,
Yes.
for the video presentation, right? Sorry, can I ask when is the deadline again? Yeah.
I will accept until the same deadline as the other gentleman mentioned. On the exam day, make sure I get it lah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
It's a very big file, so you send it by this software, this thing, cloud by cloud, the file mail thing. You can actually send by cloud, and I can download it within 5 days lah. Send by email. If you send by normal email, most likely you cannot get through. It's too big, the file. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so we will sign off, and I'll see you on Sunday to discuss the last one. So it's about, you all should be layering up and building up your answer already lah. Every day add on to it. Not much time left. Your first exam is when? Next week or the week after next? Your other accounting exam?
At 2nd of May, I think.
Oh, same day,
Yes.
2nd of May.
It is.
Your accounting, the auditing exam is when again? The day which I gave you? 10th of May. Okay. Okay, so there's no clash lah. Is actually I put it further so that you won't clash and have more time to do it. Okay, all right. So we will sign off now, and I will see you on Sunday to discuss on the other one, the paper.
So this, Mr. Ken, this take-home exam, 10 marks.
Yeah.
Just for reminding, the duration date is 25th April to 2nd of May, isn't it?
Yeah, 2nd of May. Yeah.
Okay.
So start work tomorrow or even tonight lah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully lah. Okay. You at least you have your soft copy type out, so you can just add on to it lah. Start building a foundation. All right. Okay. So all right. So have a good night and have a good rest, and take care on the safety and your mask is getting serious lah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Good night, Good night.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Ken.
Thank you, Mr. Ken. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ken.
Okay. Good night. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.